Republican Senator John McCain. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Allison.
So it must have hit sort of close to home for you yesterday when you found out that an American had joined ISIS and his name was Douglas McCain.
Yes, that certainly was an interesting coincidence, and I can assure you this is just the first of many. There are some estimates as much as 100, some more, some less, but there's no doubt that ISIS is attracting people from all over the world who have been indoctrinated by this radical form of Muslim religion, and it's not going to stop, and it's increasing, and it's really a greater danger to the United States of America. But that's not just my opinion. That's the Director of National Intelligence, the head of the CIA, and Secretary of Homeland Security's view as well.
Yeah.
This is a direct threat over time.
Now, Senator, it's no secret that you have been frustrated with President Obama's approach to ISIS. You put out a statement that said, in part, America and our allies and partners will only be secure when ISIS is defeated. That means we must get beyond half measures, tactical responses, and defensive actions. What half measures are you referring to?
Well, the fact that the president, we could go back to his commitment to attack Syria, and then after telling the world that, changing his mind. That was a seminal event throughout the Middle East and the world. That was over the chemical weapons issue. By the way, there's no
you're saying that because
evidence from.
But just, I want to be clear. You're saying because he drew a red line and then did nothing, that was what caused the rise of ISIS?
No, I think that that was a seminal event in not attacking Syria, which is now has our Free Syrian Army people on the run, rise of ISIS, a success of Bashar Assad, but it certainly helped. But it gave an indication of a lack of credibility. So these things don't happen by accident, Allison, but right now you have the ISIS with the largest caliphate in history, richest, with hundreds of millions of dollars, using American equipment. They have obliterated the boundaries between Iraq and Syria. So we're launching airstrikes in Iraq for reasons which are really not totally specified yet, but surveillance in Syria. How does that work? There is no strategy. If the President of the United States would go to the American people and outline a strategy and our goal, then I think the American people in Congress would be very supportive. But right now, there is no one that I have met that can describe what the strategy of this administration is.
So, Senator,
one day the Secretary of Defense. Yeah, could I just say that when the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs talk about how this is a huge threat this is, and the biggest we've ever seen, et cetera, and there's nothing to follow that up because there's no strategy.
So, Senator, what is your strategy or your recommendation to defeat ISIS?
What I have said for a long, long time. You're going to have to use airstrikes. That may require air controllers and special forces people on the ground. It does not require the same kind of military involvement that we had before, but we've got to go after them. We cannot give them sanctuary just because of the boundary, and we are going to have to arm the Kurds, and we're going to have to support a reconciliation with the Sunni. And all of those are going to have to take place almost simultaneously in the context of an overall strategy, which, as I say right now, is not there. In fact, what is the president's goal right now?
Well,
that's even the first question.
I believe the president has said that his goal was to contain ISIS in Iraq, and by hitting the convoys to save the Yazidis or the other people that ISIS has persecuted.
But that's not a strategy. If you think you can contain ISIS, do you really believe that? You can't contain ISIS. You have to defeat it. It is, look at the way that it's grown and morphed in just the last year or so. They have now attracted young people, young men from all over the world, and they are growing in strength. They have U.S. equipment, they have money, and they are a direct threat. And you can't just contain direct threats. It's not like the Cold War. They are going to be exporting terror to the United States of America. That's what Mr. Baghdadi said after he left our prison in Iraq, Camp Buchan, said, "I'll see you in New York."
I want to talk to you about how you would recommend dealing with ISIS in Syria. Syria's foreign minister said this week that they, Syria, are willing to collaborate and cooperate with international forces to fight terrorism. Should we collaborate and cooperate with the Assad regime to try to get rid of ISIS?
I think it would be terrible. I can't imagine us being that cynical. What we need to do is, and what we've needed to do all along, was help the Free Syrian Army. Another seminal event was when the president overruled his entire national security team, including the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, when they all recommended that we arm the Free Syrian Army. Decisions have consequences, and this president doesn't want to lead. Two things happened this week, very interesting. One, the agreement, ceasefire between Hamas and Syria, no American role. To UAE and Egypt launching attacks against the Islamists in Libya without even telling us. This is a diminution of American influence in the region, which is just remarkable.
So where does that leave us with Syria? Would you support airstrikes over Syria, and as you said, even special forces on the ground to figure out where to effect those airstrikes?
I wouldn't put them on the ground in Syria, but I certainly would put airstrikes, and also airstrikes against Bashar Assad, which we have advocated, to establish a sanctuary on the border so that the Free Syrian Army can train and equip. That's the ultimate goal, should be the ultimate overthrow of Bashar Assad. The same statement the president made a couple of years ago where he said it's not a matter, well, Bashar should leave, and he also said it's not a matter of whether Bashar Assad would leave, it's a matter of when, because we didn't help. Nobody believes that anymore.
All right, Senator John McCain, thanks so much for joining us to outline your strategy this morning. Always nice to see you.
Thank you.